everyone, and welcome to the Tesla Life number 180. Here we are on the 16th of December, 2020, just rolling into that end of fourth quarter, getting closer and closer. And yeah, we've got some news about the fourth quarter today, but we won't start there. What we'll start with is introductions. We have Mr. Patrick Connor joining us from the West Coast. How are you today, sir?
I am good. It's nice and dark and rainy here, but that's okay. We're still hanging out, having our little Supercharger hangout and chat, talking about living the Tesla life. And what is the Tesla life? It's embracing a future free from fossil fuels.
The triple F. Absolutely. Absolutely. Also with us as normal, Mr. Casey Green joins us from the DC area. How are you today, sir?
It's a little chilly out here. So started out with some snow and now it's rain, and we'll see. It's probably going to freeze overnight, and that'll be fun.
Yeah, you got that the tail of that northeaster heading up the eastern coast.
That's right.
And it's just missing us. Thank goodness.
Oh, wow. I was about to say, you can keep it.
we squeezed out of this one. So, but, you know, the winter's young, so who knows what'll happen through the winter. Yeah. But with that, our first story evening, Patrick's got a little note to us that he wanted to do an update about what's going on in his Tesla life.
So there's a few things. My seats stopped adjusting when I switched profiles, so we needed to get service, and they fixed that, no problem. So now they're back working. So if someone else drives my car, it actually moves to where it's supposed to and back. But while I was there, they tested the health of the memory in my MCU. I have MCU 1, and they said it was not great and that I would probably see problems soon and I could get that fixed under warranty, no problem. And when I got home, boom, I got a new software update. It was, let me look, 20.48.10. And that has a new feature that I did not know they were putting in there at all, where it actually looks at that the health of your memory. And so now I have this error message popping up that says it's okay to drive, but call service and get this replaced. So I'm gonna go from 8 gigs to 64 gigs for free. Thank you, Tesla.
So that was my next question, was where you're gonna do the MCU2 upgrade.
Yeah, so I really thought about that. It's $2,500, and I would get Netflix and some games and a faster touchscreen. But for $1,000, I'd do it. For $2,500, not so much. I just don't see the value there. And the other thing is, I'm going to be spending a big chunk of change later this month, giving it to Tesla because, drum roll,
Model Y,
Powerwalls. I'm getting 3 of them installed. And I ordered these 2 years ago today. It has taken that long. And there were some snafus. Someone that was working quit, and then one of them was a referral program, and that got things confused, and it got stuck. And then, so when they finally said, you're cleared for scheduling, I called and said, is there any way that we could get this done this year? Because the federal incentive reduces for next year, and so it's like, at least, I don't know, another $500 if I get it of an incentive if I can have it installed this year. And they said Christmas Eve and New Year's Eve are the only days open. Either of those, and I was like, yes, yeah, let's take Christmas Eve. The earliest is better in case there's a part missing. They can get it before the end of the year and get it powered on. Exactly. So I'm getting some power walls, people.
Wow, what a Christmas present! Right at the end of right at the last moment.
Yeah.
Yep.
So I was dealing with service this week as well, and they used to, well, before, we talk on the phone like normal people, and then they would text you, and that's gone now too. You actually communicate with them through the app.
Oh wow!
Still text style, but now they're not paying a mobile provider to send text messages back and forth.
Which is what, a nickel?
Well, yeah, but how many service centers and how many texts for how many customers? Yeah, I'm sure it adds up.
Especially with service-related stuff, the customers tend to send you back a book, and so you've got all these text messages. You got to get them in order, and so now that you
get it in
your app,
and if it's in your app, it's already filed and cataloged, and you don't have to re-enter notes and copy and paste stuff.
One would hope, but their record keeping hasn't been the greatest over the years.
Well, yeah, I haven't seen that yet in the app, but I was still texting with them. So
oh wow, maybe it's a phased rollout.
Maybe, yeah.
Because I started with a what did I start with? The car was doing something silly in the software, and it resolved itself. And then I also told them, hey, the squeak in the middle seat is back when the car is cold soaked, and the only way to do it is to get the car below 32 degrees for hours, and so they don't have a freezer. And I lived in South Carolina until now, so I couldn't get it to replicate until just now. And they're like, "Oh yeah, we're going to charge you a diagnostic fee." I'm like, "The hell you are! You did repairs on this and said when it comes back to call you, it's back. I've called you." So I'm waiting for them to respond to that. I was polite about it, but I was like, "Nah, bro, $300." Not gonna
happen. Yeah. Well, let's get on with the stories.
Sorry about that.
Yeah, we've got this week. Of course, the stories are coming fast and furious as normal. And Patrick's got our first one about a new steel provider and what they're planning on doing.
That's right. This is on Tesla Righty. It's by Simon Alvarez. Tesla CyberTruck steel supplier to begin operations at Texas plant by fall of 2021. So the company is Steel Dynamics Incorporated, and for disclosure purposes, I should say I've recently bought some of this stock, and they are going to build what is called their most ambitious project to date. So they're going to be building right there so they can supply the Giga Austin when that gets up and rolling and crank out some Cybertrucks. It's very exciting.
Yeah, so an on-site company presence? Is that what I've read here?
Yeah, that would make sense. Like with a lot of their suppliers, they have people that have access and the proper badging to get into their gates and on site, so they know if there's problems, if they know if their supplies are low. This is the best way to work with. Instead of phone calls and delays and callbacks, you have somebody there. The one throat to choke, if you will, if you want to take that route. It's cool to see that these guys are also one of the leaders in green steel. Steel production is highly carbon intensive, and it's not like they're complete, CO2 zero, but they are one of the leaders in that space, which is good to see, especially with a company like Tesla. That's part of their mission is CO2 reduction, and so picking a steel supplier that is as much as possible goes along those same lines is a good idea.
Yeah, absolutely.
Absolutely.
So it's and it looks like it's on schedule because they're saying that this company is looking to have start operations in the third or fourth quarter of next year.
Yeah, I really hope so. I hope that means that the Cybertrucks are rolling off the line a year from now. They're being delivered to customers. That would be awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah. Somebody pointed out that this is directly in between Terra, Texas, and Boca Chica.
Yeah, perfect for Elon to stop by and chat with the supplier.
Also, both companies use the same steel, or very related version of the same steel.
Yeah, I don't know if they supply SpaceX as well, but why? Once they have a good relationship in the Muskoverse, if they can supply what's needed. Yeah,
exactly. Well, our next story is off to Berlin, Gigafactory Berlin to be precise. And of course, Tesla recently had been, paused by the government because of they were doing some tree cutting or clearing a certain area, and they were asked to stop because of sleeping snakes. Hibernating snakes had been the holdup at that point, and apparently someone went out and banged a pot or two and woke these snakes up and got them moving because Tesla was given the right to continue their tree cutting activities. So those snakes have either moved on, or it's beyond their hibernation time, or something different. Maybe they ever found that there weren't enough snakes in the area. I'm not sure what it is, but Tesla was given the right to continue their activities, and now, of course, this is tree clearing for another part of the factory site. I would imagine that is in preparation for another building that will go in that site going forward. But at this point, it's just a tree clearing activity. So I don't know. We talked about this last week about how many snakes would be stopping Tesla from progressing on a factory. We've heard about the ants, we've heard about the snakes, we've heard about a number of different bats.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Boars.
So we're going to have to see if anything else pops up. But again, this forest that Tesla is clearing, of course, was a hastily planted forest for basically tree harvesting anyways.
It's a cardboard farm.
It was not old growth by any means.
This is strictly new growth trees that were put in place on a bombing field, actually, that are part of a bombing field. So all the same species of tree planted close together. It wasn't a naturalized area really at all. It was a tree farm, is what it basically boiled down to. So. And of course, Tesla is planting 3 times the number of trees on other sites around the factory to make up for what's been clear cut. So
and they're not cardboard trees.
Right. And there'll be indigenous trees and a mixture and properly spaced, so the trees will grow up in an area that will befit everybody, help everyone.
Right.
So,
not a densely packed monoculture. The article that you have has a picture of the trees, and the only place they're green is on top.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Otherwise, there are sticks.
Yeah, because they were so close together, they just don't get sunlight, and they can't grow branches and leaves and all the things that nice healthy trees need.
Yeah,
They look like they could be used for poles.
Reaching for the stars is what they're doing. Absolutely.
Yeah,
so,
I wonder how many of these complaints are by real environmental groups versus astroturfed environmental groups.
Yeah, that's a good question too.
Yeah.
That's a good question.
I mean, I like snakes. I'm fine relocating them, but if we don't do something, the planet's only going to be snakes and lizards and things that can handle high heat. It won't be suitable for humans.
Yeah, I heard a statistic that showed that of the creatures living in North America, humans were like a small percentage of it, and the rest of it was livestock, and then a small portion of it was the natural, flora and fauna that were actually belong here.
Yep, it's a balancing act. It always has been. We're at the top of the food chain. Obviously, we've really, we've beaten nature in many ways, beaten it down to nothing. But we're not going to get into a situation where we're going back to living in caves either. So it's a balancing act. We have to be good stewards of the earth. We have to allow nature to grow and to flourish, but we have to flourish ourselves too. So it's like I said, it's something that we have to do all in balance.
Right. Yeah. How many oil wells have been drilled and spilled and caused mass disasters where this is, and you have to just do that over and over and over again for the fuel demands of all of our transportation. This changes that, right? This is, you build these battery electric cars. You don't have to burn resources to fuel them. You can have wind, solar. So let's take this step to get things right and stop doing all the stuff that we've been doing wrong that's just repeatedly destroying our planet. I think you said it really well, Mark. We have to be good stewards of the planet. And that means building these things out that allow us to live regeneratively.
Yep, living a more sustainable life, and that in turn will help nature, definitely.
Mm-hmm.
Casey's got our next story about a big push in China for superchargers.
Yeah. So Tasmanian, Ava Fox has an article showing that in one day, Tesla brought online 219 supercharger stalls in China. At 27 sites, and 4 of the 27 stations are V2, and all the rest are V3s. So
Awesome.
it's kind of like here, like just random V2s. Just we had some equipment laying around, and then the brand new V3s. It's pretty cool. In fact, I visited 2 V3 stations that popped up recently here, and they are rolling out like crazy. It's good to see.
And that's very similar to what happened just about a year ago with the opening of the Trans-Canada Highway here in Canada. There was like 20-some locations all opened within a week. Short period of time.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, not one day, but right, within a week. So cheers to China. I am sure, Chinese demand is going through the roof. We've seen sales figures that constantly are going up by 70-80% a quarter. They're embracing the Model 3 like no other car, and they're going to need places to charge, and they're going to need more of them. Being the largest market on Earth at this point, that is something that Tesla's going to continually have to work on, keeping that infrastructure available between and in cities. And as we know in China, there's a lot of cities that are, of course, very densely urbanized. So that means people living in condos, living in apartments, those supercharging spots, having the ability to charge those urban customers is going to be very important when it comes to the Chinese amount of cars and where they're at.
Absolutely, and it's perfect timing too, right before New Year. So if there's any sort of travel going on for that, I mean, not everybody is dealing with this as poorly as we are here at home. So they could have some travel. It's not the Chinese New Year is a whole other travel holiday, obviously, but we're talking about the calendar. There will be some travel, so it's good timing. It's 219 stalls in one day.
That's 27 stations in under 24 hours. That's quite a planning for sure. Next story, Tesla has expanded its in-house full self-driving testing to the Phoenix, Arizona area. So this is kind of something that a little bit of a surprise that they have, I guess, opened an office in the Phoenix, Arizona area to do some of their own in-house testing. So this is outside, of course, what they've released to a number of beta testers now, the full self-driving. But this is them, I guess, stretching their legs in Phoenix as an area that has embraced full self-driving already. We know that, was it Waymo set up in Phoenix as well?
Yes,
so,
Chandler, I think, yeah.
So there was that already opened up in that city and state. And Tesla now has opened an office there to expand their in-house testing themselves. So this also could be a move to diversify outside of California. This could be part of that as well. So we've seen, we mentioned about Musk threatening to leave California way back in the spring, and we've seen some of the moves towards that with him moving out of California himself personally. This could be some other things about diversifying the portfolio that Tesla has and where they can operate. And again, that redundancy is probably a good thing for Tesla as they grow in size, to have different offices and different abilities that they would not be, tied down to one site alone that could be jeopardized for whatever reason. So probably a good move on Tesla's part as they grow.
Plus, with the reporting, you don't have the same level of reporting required in Phoenix as you do in California. So probably helps them to be able to do their testing without feeling like somebody is watching over them constantly.
Possibly. Yeah.
Yeah, California requires disengagement reports and other things, and they don't have those in Texas or in the Phoenix area. So it makes sense. You can have test teams anywhere in the world, And as long as they have the right kind of streets and signs that you want to collect data for, hire people there. And as long as you have the AI team in a place where they have, like near Stanford or somewhere where they can get good PhD students to work on the AI system, you can have test drivers anywhere in the world. And in fact, I wouldn't be surprised if, as they expand functionality into other countries, if they didn't do similar things for various different geos.
Yeah, that's kind of interesting that you mentioned that. It just jogs my memory about people here in Ontario. There's been a discussion on our Twitter feed, which is at the Tesla Life, if you're not already following us. But there was a discussion about full self-driving and, of course, winter conditions.
Right.
How is that going to affect it? There are problems now with sensors being covered with ice and snow as that happens through the winter. What's going to happen? Is there going to be just the same level of disengagement because of certain sensors being snowed or iced over, or is there going to be different remedies for that? So having that type of testing up here is another thing that we're looking forward to see how it's going to react with adverse weather.
Yeah. We've seen them putting heaters on things like charge ports. It would make sense to do the same maybe over some of their sensors. And then Tesla had the really cool patent for having lasers that could blast stuff off the glass. So, who knows what could happen? They might use that to zap some debris off of the camera.
Yep, that's a brave new world right there. That's for sure. We'll have to see what happens with that. But speaking of a brave new world, Model 3 has now opened up a little bit larger on the battery front. What's going on with that, Patrick?
Yes. So we just saw a report, again, Teslarati, and this one is from Maria, and it says that Tesla's Model 3 now has an 82 kilowatt hour battery pack that has been formally listed in California's Clean Fuel Rewards website. So that is awesome. The Model 3s that are out there on the road today have been 75 kilowatt hour, and it makes sense as the technology improves, you get better energy density, that they can put a larger pack in there and get within the same space, get more energy out of it. And we might be seeing this come out with the 2021 Model 3s. So it's not surprising that Tesla hasn't. This is not from Tesla directly. This is through this California program, where I'm sure they have legal requirements to post this stuff. And one of the things that we've often seen them do is they'll put a car out, they wait a couple months, they've collected some data on it, then they announce, hey, if you bought a car after such and such a date, you're getting this upgrade for free. And that way they don't Osborne themselves. You don't have people that are waiting to get this new thing. And in fact, it's an upside surprise for some of their current owners. So there you go. If you recently bought a Model 3 and it was the 2021, if you have the center console that doesn't flip up but slides, maybe you've also got a few extra kilowatt hours in there.
Yep, exactly. I wonder if that's from the Panasonic improvements on battery density, that the same amount of cells just adds up to another 7 kilowatts of power.
It seems that way.
They said 5%, and this is 7 out of 75 is just under 10. So
some figures that had been out were 78 kilowatt hours for the Model 3 pack. Would that be closer?
That would make sense. So maybe one of them is the usable amount, and the other's the total amount. So they're not exactly apples to apples.
Yeah.
That could explain the discrepancy.
Yeah. So good to know. And again, Tesla didn't reveal this to their customers. They revealed this to the California Clean Fuels group because, as Patrick mentioned, they were probably required by law in order to collect the discounts or the incentives that the program was offering from customers. So that is why they had to report it in that way.
Yeah, and it's like we keep saying, if it's at the price you want, has the features you want, get it now, because next week is going to be something different. Yeah, they add stuff sometimes, but other times they take stuff away.
Or increase the price.
Mm-hmm.
Or they increase the price. Yes.
Yeah.
I bought my car right before the ventilated seats went away again for the second time, and if I had waited, I would be missing out on that, and I would be upset because it was something that I was completely interested in. They also got rid of the possibility for unlimited supercharging and the free premium connectivity for life. So, I mean, if you like what you see, get it before it's gone.
Get it while you can. Absolutely.
Yeah, and then have no regrets, because
no regrets.
Tesla's going to come out with something newer, better, cooler, sleeker that you're probably gonna have some envy for. And that's okay. That's what they're an innovative company. That's what they do. And if that means you get a short-term lease, fine. If that means you're doing what I'm doing, I'm going to have my Tesla for 10 years, and then the plan is to buy a new one after that 10 years. And that's going to be so much better, and that'll be a fun way to do it also. Yeah,
because if you're not just constantly lusting after what's going on next. Imagine what's going to happen in 10 years. You get that new car and it's going to be like, it's going to be nothing like your existing car. It's going to be incredible.
No, it's going to be a flying car is what it's going to be in 10 years. Definitely. Speaking of possibly flying cars, Tesla has announced that they are putting a shutdown in place for Model S and Model X production at Fremont for 18 days over the upcoming Christmas holiday season. So this is not, completely unsuspected. They do this yearly. What the article didn't mention at all, anything about the X or the 3 or the Y. So I'm assuming those lines are just operating as per normal because they didn't mention it in the article that they would be shut down. So if it's only the S and the X production line or lines, what does that tell us? And of course, the article pointed to the ever sticking up question of a possible refresh that's still out there. And we know that Tesla has left the X and the S more the S as it's beginning to get a little bit long in the tooth. And there has been talk about a refresh of a larger scale, but Tesla, of course, has been very quiet about that. Elon has indicated that changes will happen as they do over time, and he had nothing about a bigger refresh coming in any foreseeable time that he wanted to speak about, and that was probably about 6 months ago, maybe 8, where he made those comments, and since then it's been just quiet. So again, there is a possibility of a refresh. This is just a rumor, but who knows? Who knows? I suspect it may take more than 18 days to put a larger refresh in place, but I could be wrong as well. So what do you guys think?
The S and X lines are the 2 oldest lines in the factory. You got to shut them down every now and then to do maintenance on them. And we've been hearing about refreshes since 2016. When the Model X came out and the Model S got the little rhinoplasty. So, I mean, they've been promising us the not Tesla, the outside instigators have been promising us a refresh for 6 years now. So, or 4 years really. So, yeah, so 4 years now. So, I mean, it might happen, it might not, but I don't. If there is anything, it's going to be very much like the Model 3 and Model Y just got with the little tech refresh. I doubt that they're going to change the shape of the car. I mean, they've been building pretty much the same car now since 2012, and it just doesn't seem likely. It wouldn't be unwelcome, but it would be a surprise.
Yeah, it's pretty normal to shut down a line for 2 weeks in any given year in a normal car factory for upgrades and repairs and retooling, new equipment installs. That's why when you're doing production estimates, you don't account for 52 weeks, you account for 50. And that's just standard in the industry. So I think people are jumping to the conclusion that this means a refresh. That doesn't mean it's not, but the way that some of these articles are like, here's proof, I've got it for sure. I don't know.
They're going to be disappointed.
Yeah. And so, if you think about the Model S, I mean, with the tri-motor and the Raven suspension, and it's got a lot of really, really good updates. Yes, it's not a new exterior style, and they didn't turn the screen vertical, but they're working on it where it matters.
Yeah. I don't know if they're still making it on two lines or if they've gone back down to one. These cars are not their bread and butter anymore. They're the Halo cars. So, or I guess they're the flagship cars. So the Halo car is now the Roadster, and when you look at their production, they've made all they need to make for the year. The amount of time that it would take to get one from Fremont to elsewhere in the world or to the East Coast before the end of the year is significant. And so why not relocate some of the workers to help out on the Model 3 and Model Y lines and deliver the cars on the West Coast where you can really pad those numbers for the end of the year and meet that record that they're trying to set.
Exactly.
Yep. Okay, with that, speaking of the end of the quarter push, the next story leads right into that. Casey's got an update about if you do purchase a new Tesla, what are they offering now, Casey?
So if you purchase a in-stock Model 3 or Model Y before the end of the year, I don't want to say all, but just look on the website and it'll tell you if it doesn't qualify. They're going to give you a year of free supercharging when you purchase the car, just to incentivize you to get it before New Year instead of after.
Exactly. So you've got that carrot they're dangling, and of course, they're pushing for that record, that 500,000 cars over 2020. So there's been an update here in Ontario. They've introduced the ability for you to take a test drive to overnight a car here in Ontario. So there's a couple of different incentives that are being offered now, and I wonder if there might be one final that is introduced in the next 2 weeks.
Oh, they will.
Because we are getting down to the throes. We got like 15 days left before it's over. So I know they're watching the numbers like a hawk, and are they going to push anything else out the door to get more people involved in a car before the end of the year? I guess it depends on how close they are to that record or believe they can get to that record.
That's a brilliant strategy, letting you take it home for the night. When I brought my first loaner Tesla home, the neighbors were like, "Oh, that's yours?" I was like, "No, that's not mine." I was like, a lot of peer pressure involved with that transaction
there. So after it sits in your driveway for a day, the neighbors are asking you constantly about it.
What happened to that Tesla you had the other day? Didn't like the color? I'm getting a brown one. I didn't like the red, was too much for me. They don't make brown anymore, but my first one was brown. And,
cool.
Yeah,
that's right. Brown went away, didn't it?
Both browns went away.
One of the loaners I had was that color. I really liked it.
Yeah. The very first one I saw was that milk chocolate color, and then I had the titanium metallic, the champagne colored one.
Right.
And now I've got obsidian black, which is also canceled.
Oh wow!
You can pick them, Casey. You can pick them.
So speaking of the end of the quarter, this talks about the 500,000 deliveries in 2020. Do you guys think they're gonna? What do you think the numbers will be for the year?
Close. They'll be really close, if not slightly over.
I gotta believe they're gonna go over. I I think Tesla sandbags us. I think that's the problem. Because we've seen this before, the pandemic, the shutdown for 6 weeks. How on earth did they make those numbers previously? I'll never know. So here they are running on all electrons, and I think they've got to be able to make this. Although people are saying, that's 40,000 more cars than they've ever sold in any quarter previously. And I'm thinking, yeah, that may be the case, but they're pretty calm, cool, and collected about this so far. So I think they're on track. I think they're on track.
They've doubled every quarter. Like, oh yeah, it's double this time last year. Oh, it's double this time last year.
Yeah, it's. I think they're going to make it.
I do too. Yeah. So I'm guessing it's going to be 520, 530 in that range. We'll see. It's exciting.
I think that even with the lightning pedal slammed, they're gonna just eke it out. If they do, it'll be like 508.
Okay. Casey's taking the under on my bet. All right. We'll find out in a few weeks.
And I'd split the difference. I say 515.
Okay.
Oh, there we go. Okay.
Yeah. Well, I mean, because they're going to want to be able to brag about it. They're going to say, "Hey, we set a new record." So they're not going to just not make it. But if something happens, they'll be really close. If nothing happens, then they're going to hit one of our 3 numbers.
Yeah.
Right. Cool.
Very good. Next, last weekend, actually Saturday of last weekend, there was a large charity Tesla parade that was set to take place in Atlanta, Georgia. And they were going after the Guinness World Record for a number of Teslas in one spot, which is currently held by China. I believe that number is about 160, somewhere in that area was the record that was officially recorded by Guinness. And what happened this time is the Atlanta one, they registered over 400 people said they were going to show up with their cars. Now that didn't quite happen. They stepped down a little bit from that. But the amount that they hit was 339. So a new record was, of course, obtained. And we've got a few photos here that we will share.
Yep. Yeah, I opted out of actually attending after one, we had COVID show up in the middle of after all this planning had started, and then 2, Russell and Georgia pointed out some items that were of concern to me. So,
yeah,
I wanted to go and see everybody, but it's between the COVID and those other concerns, it just wasn't worth the risk to take a trip like that.
And that's one of the things that maybe put a damper on this. Certainly was that we do have a pandemic that's going on. Of course, in the pictures that were shown, everyone is trying to stay safe. They're wearing masks. They're trying to be social distanced. But things happen at events like this, regardless, whether you've got, whatever good intentions you've got in place to stop something like this. I would imagine that it would have been a lot bigger had we not been in a pandemic.
Yeah.
But
choosing not to go to an event during a pandemic, I'm not going to fault you for that at all.
Yeah.
You have to take care of you.
I just got word yesterday that one of my former coworkers passed from COVID infection. So
that's sad to hear.
That's not the first one in my circles. It's just the most recent, and it hurts, man.
Yeah, absolutely. Brian from I1 Tesla is there. He performed a video. We've got that link if you'd like to see it. And here was a unique one that was at
Brian and Raphael too.
And our friend Tesla Tina was there too. So we've got a number of different cars. I like the Green Mafia. I thought that was kind of cool.
We all have the same color wrap. I like it.
Yeah, very cool. But
R1 and X, it looks like.
That's an X, with the wings up. Yeah, me saying wings, doors.
They're falcon wing doors.
They just look like they look like wings.
You talk about flying cars. It's gonna happen.
Yeah.
Cool.
Okay, with that,
did we talk about the rocket? Or was that the week before?
About the rocket?
Serial number 8. I can't remember now. It's been 9. A blur.
9 fell over? You mean the one?
Yeah,
that
9
fell
as well. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Nine
last
took
week we
itself
talked about 8,
little
but we
lean.
didn't talk about 9.
So 9 was being built, and well, it was in
It was
a
done.
storage facility, right, or the build
Right.
facility.
In the hangar,
And,
yeah.
apparently, it started to lean a little bit and touch the wall. So
It got the
believe
vapors after seeing its sibling.
they believe that they will be able to salvage it. But
I don't want to go. You can't make me.
yeah, it's like it was leaning
Like
against the door after it saw the
Puppy or the
explosion.
cat going to the vet. No, no. Yeah. But the good thing is nobody was injured that we know of, and so now they can learn from the lessons involved with that, because it could have, if it tipped the other way, it would have took out serial number 10 and possibly quite a number of staff. So
Yeah.
and they had just had VIPs roll through that hangar shortly before all this happened, so it could have been catastrophic.
Well, glad it wasn't.
Yes, aren't we all?
And hopefully they'll redesign things a little bit to prevent something like that in the future.
Yeah, that should, like have a mile perimeter around it that it could fall over, explode, whatever. You don't want to have people or other things too close to something that's hazardous.
Put a heavier base on them or hang them from the ceiling, one or the other.
That's Christmas tree solutions.
Yeah.
Next story, the Boring Company. It has now leased space in or close to Austin, Texas. So it's not in Austin. It's in a Dr. Seussville that's close to Austin. Patrick knows the name.
Pflugerville.
Pflugerville. Exactly. I swore that was in the Dr. Seuss book. Horton, here's a Pflugerville or something. But I
apologize to everyone. Please like anyway.
We've got the story where they have now leased space in Pflugerville, and they have got a 14-acre site with 2 buildings and an industrial complex. So 14 acres is kind of large. 2 buildings, and it's another example of Tesla's diversification of where they are. Well, it's not Tesla, it's the Boring Company, but certainly it was part of the Tesla family. And they've now set up shop in Austin, so or near Austin. So it kind of interesting. Again, we don't know what they're doing in Austin. Is there any reason to have a facility in Austin itself? They didn't set up, an actual facility in, say, Las Vegas, where an actual tunnel has been built. Is this them moving to Austin?
Yeah,
because
it's like you said, where Elon can stick his hand out, grab a throat.
Yeah, so it's kind of interesting, and of course, a 14-acre site is going to get a lot of room to start some tunnels for sure.
Yeah, but they're leasing it, so you don't get your security deposit back if you drill a bunch of holes in the 14 acres.
They'll say, no, mice did that. That was nuts.
It was moles. We had moles, man.
Those are prairie dogs. They're everywhere out here. They just make a mess.
Meerkat Mansion. There it is.
There you go. So we'll have to keep our eye on that. See if the Boring Company is going to be actually doing something out there in Texas. They're about 20 miles from the Gigafactory Texas site. So I could just see a 20-mile test tunnel being built right now.
So if we get another new Musk Co next year, I bet you it'll be somewhere near the Austin area.
Yeah.
Yep, that would make sense, certainly.
Yep.
Our last story of the evening is about an adapter that, of course, a lot of people have been waiting for. So let's just pull that up on the screen. There we go. This, of course, is the CCS adapter that plugs into the Tesla regular plug that we have here in North America. This adapter has apparently been released in South Korea that have the same adapter as we do here in North America. But what was not clear about the release of this is whether or not it's ever going to come to North America or if it will work with North American cars. We know that there are differences in Teslas across the world in charging infrastructure and the charge they take through the charge port and devices that can be used with those said cars. So
yeah, that's
it's not entirely, possible that an adapter, even though it looks like it would mechanically fit in a North America car, would actually work here in North America. But I'm sure someone's going to try it. If you can purchase this in South Korea, I am sure someone's relative is going to buy it, package it up, and send it to North America. There will be a video about it probably by 3.5 minutes from now. But right? There should be, this is something that I believe, and I don't know why Tesla has taken so long to move on something like this. Obviously, the supercharger network is what most of us use, and most of us will continue to use, the vast majority of us. But there certainly are cases where it would be convenient if you're going to certain off-the-track areas where CCS is available, and if you had an adapter, you could use it in isolated cases where you wanted to. And, like supplying an adapter for, a J2, this is something that I believe should be available for everyone to purchase if they need it.
Yeah, I mean, I've used my CHAdeMO adapter numerous times, and it's still something I consider whenever I get to a supercharger and it's full, because situation like now with the holiday travels, and it's like, do I want to wait 5 minutes, or do I want to go around the corner at this mall here and just top it off with the CHAdeMO? Imagine if I could top it off at near supercharger speeds using CCS.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah, exactly.
Before you run out and try and get your friend in South Korea to mail you one of these, remember that in Europe, when they implemented the CCS adapters, cars older than, I want to say, August of either 18 or 20 had to get a retrofit kit. So until this is official, I wouldn't expect Tesla to do any sort of retrofits for you here if that's required. And I also wouldn't expect them to do the work without you purchasing an adapter. So you'll have two of them if you go that route.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a good point. Unless you're just doing it to get the YouTube views for having it not work.
Well, hopefully it will do like the CHAdeMO did with the Model 3 when that came out. It'll just say not supported.
Yes, that's exactly when Mark brought up that this may or may not work. Don't be surprised if it doesn't. That was the one that came to mind. When the Model 3 came out, even though mechanically the CHAdeMO adapter fits in the Model 3, it would not use it. And they just had not enabled that in software. And I'm not sure why, but that was not their priority. And eventually they did, and it works now. But don't assume this is going to be just something that you can plug in and because it fits, it'll work. Mark, you mentioned why haven't they done this earlier? And before the Model 3 even came out, they had joined the CCS engineering group, the society, the SAE, whoever it is that puts that out. They were listed right there as members, and I thought the Model 3 for some reasons might just be CCS native, but that wasn't the case. And now we have this adapter. That makes sense that they, to make this adapter, you have to understand all the protocol and have the right mechanicals and all of that is to meet their so having that membership so they could make this make sense.
Yep, and as you mentioned, the car is CCS native in Europe, and then in China they've got two ports. They've got the Tesla port and the Chinese version of this underneath the flap. So.
Oh, that's right. I forgot it was CCS native in Europe. Mm-hmm. Cool.
Yep, and then the Model S and Model X come with the European adapter if you buy a car in that region. So,
well, hopefully it does come because, of course, in North America we've started to notice that CCS, of course, is taking over CHAdeMO. Yeah. So it's now the prevailing technology that's out there for level 3 charging for other cars. So having that ability certainly would be a plus for anyone that travels off the beaten path of where Tesla superchargers are, which is, in all fairness, is getting harder and harder to be off the beaten path because there is quite an extensive infrastructure of Tesla charging stations throughout North America. Certainly, I would say Northern Ontario and Northern Canada, but there's not a lot of chargers there anyways. There's chargers follow the path of population, and Tesla's done a really good job in keeping theirs in between those population centers and in those population centers. So there's always room for improvement, and that's why I would say it would be nice to have this as an option depending on where you go. I certainly would never buy one because I don't go anywhere outside of the Supercharger network. And why buy an extra one just to, have an adapter in the frunk of my car? Unless I was like Patrick at the beginning when he would have a boatload of adapters and plugs and modifications and all sorts of things to make sure that he could get electricity from anything, including that hamster that runs on the treadmill.
Yeah, I even had this nice waterproof Marina plug. That one was spendy. Yeah.
Ooh, yeah. If it comes in at the price of the CHAdeMO adapter or lower, I'll go ahead and get it. I'm hoping it's about $200 equivalent for Europe to get it if you didn't already have it, and that includes the retrofit. So I'm hoping that it comes in around there. But as you pointed out, Mark, with the Electrify America and their competitors, they only put one CHAdeMO generally, maybe two, depending on how big the station they're putting in is. And not only is there only one or two, it's usually shared with the CCS, and it's usually the one that everybody parks at first because it's closest to the building or it's in a more appealing spot for whatever reason. And so somebody will park there, and now you have to wait until that CCS customer is done before you can use the CHAdeMO. So it's time. We got to get off CHAdeMO and move to CCS like the rest of the industry.
Definitely. That's where it's going for sure.
Yeah.
With that, Mr. Green, any parting thoughts today?
Yes, I have completed a mess of videos. I've got some quick how-tos coming up shortly this week with how to attach and detach the Model X towing receiver. And I did a video all about towing with Model X, including all of my lifetime trips, only to find out that of my top 10 trips, several of them were actually trips as in trip segments by distance. Some of them were actually with a trailer attached. That was a surprise and impressive to me. And then we go into people ask about how is your fuel economy with the Model X, and then I show them what it does with the trailer, and just give an opinion on that. And you can find that at youtube.com/KCGreen. That's KACEYGREEN.
Very good. Before I get to Patrick, I just wanted to say, if you're still with us at this point, please give us a thumbs up. And the like button really helps us, as well as if you're not subscribed, what are you waiting for? It's free. It's not going to get any cheaper. I can guarantee that. So please subscribe, give us another check mark there, and that puts us in front of new eyeballs on YouTube, and that would be really appreciated.
And if you're in Pflugerville and you unsubscribe, go ahead and just resubscribe, because we didn't mean it. We're just playing.
Just leave a comment down below telling Patrick how to really pronounce it.
I'm sure no one's ever heard something like that from Pflugerville. Never. I'm sure. Also wanted to thank Lee Moon, of course, for the music that we use every show as well. And Patrick, what do you got for us?
Hey, thanks for hanging out with us. This was fun. I blog occasionally at carswithcords.net, and I am with the Oregon Electric Vehicle Association. You can find us at oeva.org.
Very good. And now Casey will roll the music, and we will say goodbye for another week. Tune in next week and find out what's happening in the Tesla life.
Stay positive. That's negative.